Welcome to my YouTube channel, History Vibes. If you love diving into powerful stories from the past, you're in the right place. Here, we bring history to life, one story at a time. From ancient legends to forgotten events, I read and explore the moments that shaped our world. So, sit back, relax, and let history speak. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the journey through time. You wouldn't last. 24 hours in the Dark Ages. Here's why. The medieval era, often shown with outdated romantic views, filled with chivalrous knights in shiny armor and women representing perfect beauty, holds a fascination for the general population. Yet, this shallow image of ideal beauty, which captures the modern imagination with clear depictions of nobility and fine manners, hides a daily life marked by constant hardship, widespread brutality, and short lives. This masks the harsh reality of a life buried in endless difficulty and constant death, a reality that, when examined without the distortions of nostalgia, shows the difference between the romanticized view and the historical fact. The widespread romantic views mask an existence so heavy and full of danger that people of today would hardly survive a day within its limits. Scholarly reviews of the so-called Dark Ages shows the many reasons this period, far from representing noble quests and romantic gestures, would present overwhelming challenges to anyone today. The idea of time traveling to the medieval period might initially bring excitement. Yet, such thrill would quickly fade when facing the major challenges of old communication ways. Language, the basic basis of social interaction, differed greatly from its modern forms. Main languages like Middle English, Old French, and ecclesiastical Latin filled different levels of society, depending on socioeconomic status and education. Without skills in these languages, understanding instructions, building social connections, or performing simple tasks in a medieval setting would seem nearly impossible for a time traveler from the 21st century. This language gap is just the first sign of the alienation found in the medieval world. In medieval England, the language used by the average farmer, Middle English, was so different from today's English that it might seem like a completely different language. The educated classes used Old French or Latin, creating a language hierarchy that would sideline a modern person in any social group. This arrangement ensured that, without a thorough understanding of at least one of these languages, a visitor from today would find themselves lost in a maze of miscommunication, unable to grasp even the simplest information or ask for help effectively. The situation worsens when considering the detailed differences in regional dialects and the lack of standard spelling or grammar rules. Language is a changing entity, and the forms used during this time have changed significantly over the centuries, putting the modern English speaker at a notable disadvantage. Concerned. This barrier goes beyond mere inconvenience. It greatly affects one's ability to get food, find a place to live, and ensure personal safety. Basic needs that become dangerously out of reach without effective communication. The legal system of the Middle Ages contrasts sharply with modern ideas of fairness and due process. Grimly. Dominated by feudal laws and often at the mercy of local feudal lords rather than written rules, the legal environment was both harsh and randomly enforced. Shocked. Penalties for seemingly minor offenses could be extremely harsh, including death. This system was closely linked with church authority, which set moral and legal standards that left little room for mercy, often leading to punishments that today's standards would judge as overly severe. Appalled. The practice of trial by ordeal further shows the harsh and brutal nature of medieval justice, likely to cause dismay in today's observer. People accused of crimes might have to walk over burning coals or put their arms in boiling water, Not being hurt was seen as a sign of divine forgiveness and innocence, while physical damage or death indicated guilt. Sigh. These practices emphasize the superstitious and punitive spirit of medieval law enforcement, methods that would be both unimaginable and unavoidable for someone today. Dietary hazards. While the wealthy might enjoy lavish meals including various meats and fine wines, ominously, the food realities of the medieval era carried hidden dangers. The use of lead oxide in ceramic glazing posed a constant risk of lead poisoning among the upper classes, as acidic foods like wine could cause lead to leach into food and drinks. Grimly, chronic lead poisoning led to a range of harmful health effects, including stomach pain, mental disturbances, and potential death. Worried. For someone used to strict modern food safety laws, the ever-present threat from toxins in everyday items would be both unexpected and dangerous. Disgusted. Even basic foods were fraught with significant risks. Rye, a common grain, was often contaminated with ergot, a fungus that produces toxins causing ergotism, a condition with symptoms ranging from intense hallucinations to gangrenous decay. Outbreaks of ergotism were not rare and could wipe out large groups of people. Somberly. The lack of knowledge about microbial contaminants and the absence of ways to prevent or reduce such dangers made eating a risky act during the medieval period. The medieval era was filled with constant military conflicts, from local fights over land to long wars like the 100 Years' War. Feudal rules meant that all fit men could be called to fight for their lord at any moment, often with little training and poor weapons. The constant state of war made violence and death common, with ordinary people especially affected by the demands of a warlike culture. For someone from today, the ever-present threat of being forced into battle, combined with the chaotic and bloody nature of medieval fighting, would be both frightening and potentially deadly. The dangers went beyond the immediate threats on the battlefield. The effects of war touched all parts of medieval life, disrupting farming and trade and leading to famines and disease outbreaks. The requirement to fight could come suddenly to any man, often without much warning, and chances of survival were low. The intensity and frequency of medieval wars, combined with their inherent brutality, would be an overwhelming challenge for someone used to the peace and structure of modern society. Medical understanding and health practices in the Middle Ages were basic and often ineffective. Ideas about disease causes were limited, usually based on imbalanced bodily fluids or supernatural beliefs, making even common illnesses potentially deadly due to the lack of good treatments. Sanitation systems were almost non-existent. Streets often served as open sewers, and the idea of germs would not be recognized for centuries. This setting allowed diseases like the plague, typhus, and smallpox to spread quickly and kill many people. The lack of clean water, along with the common practice of living close to animals, would seem extremely unclean by modern standards. Diseases that are now preventable or treatable were often deadly in the medieval context, making staying healthy nearly impossible. The daily environment, along with poor nutrition and constant exposure to diseases, made the medieval period deadly for anyone, especially those without the immune defenses developed by medieval people over time. Imagining life in the Middle Ages as filled with bravery and honor is easy. However, such idealization would quickly fall apart, faced with the harsh realities of the time. The daily struggles and constant dangers were intense, and the systems managing justice, health, and warfare were vastly different from any modern equivalents. A clear understanding of these aspects of medieval life not only provides an appreciation of historical truth, but also shows the social and technological progress often taken for granted today. The detailed analysis of the many difficulties in the daily lives of medieval people not only shows the strong resilience and adaptability typical of humans, but also serves as a clear proof of the many hardships overcome by our ancestors. Thoughtful. Thus, the period known as the Middle Ages, while clearly marked by intense difficulty, was also an important time in the development of Western civilization, laying the groundwork for later major changes that forever altered the path of society. Thoughtful. Looking back at this distant time offers valuable insights into the basic nature of human endurance and creativity, enhancing our ability to fully appreciate and value the many comforts and conveniences that define but are often overlooked in modern life.